We headed out from downtown Stavanger. The roads were very impressive, particularly the tunnel that headed under the fjord. And then we got on board a short ferry ride across to another juncture, which led us to an expansive view of the fjord. And we headed quickly into the visitor center. This was a March day, and the person at the visitor center recommended taking crampons up because later on, as we gained elevation, he suggested it would be snowy and icy and that we would need the extra grip. And we're glad we took his advice. It can take up to 2 hours on a busy summer day to reach up to the vantage point of Pulpit Rock, but on a blustery winter March day, it was easy going, and we made it up in just slightly over an hour. Pretty part of the hike. We were at, and when we got near the top, there was much more snow and ice along this final pathway to the edge. Luckily, they've installed some chains, and there is some stones arranged to make the pathway a little easier. It does seem a little precarious as you walk towards the ledge, especially with snow and ice, and it was a little blustery as we walked along. Having a look at the path, we drop down, and still going, hopefully. As we approach this point, I'm looking at that little gap and thinking, boy, this is not for the faint of heart. I was making sure that every step, especially with the crampons, was carefully placed. There wasn't a lot of room for error as you made around that particular point. And then Pulpit Rock came into view. My partners came up behind a little while later, and you can see them rounding the point that I was previously showing. The next thing was to edge my way towards the cliff edge and peer over. And there we go, a couple thousand feet down to the fjord. The wind was gusting, and the conditions were a mixture of ice and moisture, so I just took my time and
freaky there.
in many cases operated
Okay, you're next.
You're next.
And there you have a view of the fjord. In the summertime, this would be jam-packed with people, and I would certainly be watching where I was stepping and who was behind me. Took time out for a little lunch and fed a bird that was on site before making our way back down. We then crossed back across the fjord and did a temporary stop at a Viking village before heading the full way back into Stavanger. And we made it to the Three Sword location, which marks the site of the Vikings coming together to create the Norwegian alliance, and they've commemorated that with the Three Swords. Truly amazing, the engineering to go so deep under the fjords with these tunnels.
We're now doing a tour of downtown Stavanger. You can see that there's been a huge cruise ship that's pulled in.
It also has a historical old town, which is made of wooden buildings and cobblestone streets tightly packed together. And it's in that area that there's a canning museum and other interesting locations to look around. The rest of the city is a very modern Norwegian city with all the amenities you would expect of a oil-rich country. The Petroleum Museum is well worth a visit, really surprisingly in-depth and interesting. And we are also coming by the coastal area. I believe the area is called Sola, and it's just beautiful looking out at the North Sea. And the weather is clearing for a beautiful evening sunset.